What's going on, Canes fans, and happy Christmas Eve. We, are very excited for our show on this wonderful Christmas Eve today. Ross, a lot of things going on right now. It seems like Mario Cristobal is slowly forming a staff at the University of Miami. It seems like Joe Salovey will be the next defensive line coach at Miami. I think it's a pretty good hire. I mean, he comes from Oregon. He's already familiar with Joe Salovey. Didn't work out with Coach Partridge down at Pittsburgh, so that's who we're going to roll with. I mean, what does this hire mean for you once it's officially announced?
At minimum, Paul, it means that we've got a good recruiter handling business on the line there. I think that he's also a pretty damn good developer as well. So I think that this is a great move for Miami. It was pretty clear, that I think Cristobal kind of wanted to get that ACC familiarity with a guy like Partridge at first. Get that familiar base set up as a year one coach in the ACC. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. As far as I'm concerned, this is the next best move down the line in terms of familiarity and what he can bring immediately to the University of Miami.
Yeah, I think in a recruiting standpoint, I mean, he's probably one of the best recruiters in the nation. We're going to be getting some great defensive linemen. I don't know if we'll be focusing more in the West Coast to reel in these top recruits, but I think if you guys are into recruiting 2023, Jaden Wayne, I think we're in a great position for him with this hire, and he's probably the best defensive lineman in the nation.
This puts us right at the top of the list. There's no doubt about it. And it's not just the relationship he has with Salovea, it's how much he admires Coach Cristobal as well. So, 2023, we've talked about it many times. That's the elite class. 2022 is important, but getting that elite class in 2023 is basically everything, and it's what could really, really get the depth provided that we need going forward.
So that's the expectation. Joe Salovea will be fairly official, announced to the University of Miami as defensive line coach. So he'll be coming over from Oregon. Now, Ross, there were some news reports, David Lake of 24/7 Sports, stating that the leading OC, the favorite right now in the offensive coordinator coaching search, is Kendall Briles. How does that excite you if they do plug in Kendall Briles as their offensive coordinator? I mean, what are your official thoughts on that if it does come to fruition?
I'm not like crazy against it or anything. There was some guys I had my eyes on in the NFL that I kind of was prioritizing just personally myself. But I think Briles would be the right kind of a fit for us, especially since we want to keep this offense modern and keep moving forward. This would be an offense that could be very, very friendly to TVD. That's the way I see it, and I see no reason to not try to maximize his talents top to bottom. And I'll tell you what, dude, really, really, really impressed at what they're doing at Arkansas. The whole coaching staff, Paul, really impressed at what they've done there.
No, I agree. Arkansas was a complete 180. I think Kendall Briles, he averaged over 400 total yards every single game, in the SEC at Arkansas this past season, or whatever you want to call it, this current season. It's about to end. But I think this would be, if it does come true, if the leading candidate, Miami goes after him, I like his run game plan. I think he draws up a lot of nice run designs. I'm curious how it's going to work with Tyler Van Dyke. I felt like their quarterback at Arkansas, Jefferson, I believe number 1 is his last name. Two complete, total different quarterbacks, Tyler Van Dyke and Jefferson. I wonder if he'll change up the offense with Tyler Van Dyke, because I know he likes to run the football a lot.
It would, at least in terms of any type of RPOs or any specific things that they'd want TVD to do with his feet, they would be tempered, of course. They're going to want him to go into this using his arm to the fullest ability. And I think Briles has been around long enough and been around enough systems to know when's the right time to turn that on and when the right time to turn it off is. I'm pretty sure he would do everything he could to get the most out of TVD. Because, dude, it doesn't take very long to turn his tape on and realize that he's special.
Yeah, exactly. I know there's some fans all over social media. Some people don't want Joe Brady. Some people don't want Ken Dorsey. Some people don't want Kendall Briles. So I'm curious in the chat. Hit the like button if you want Kendall Briles. Hit subscribe if you want someone else. I think Kendall Briles. I mean, I think it's a good choice. It's a solid hire, you know, and it would be great to have him as our offensive coordinator. I'm not against it. Let's see if it works out because Dan Enos did not work out at all. Brett Lashley went through its ups and downs.
I could see local high school recruits interested in playing for Briles offense. You know, I really could. From pass catchers to runners to offensive linemen, I could. It's a friendly offense for these kind of guys to be in. And if he can mimic any of that stuff they had going on at Baylor during their big runs, dude, that would be exciting.
And remember too, I mean, Jake Garcia, thinking about the future, Arkansas was very much in his recruitment. It was either Miami or Arkansas towards the end. No Browse was a part of that commitment, so recruitment. So there's familiarity with Jake Garcia if you're looking long term after pilot.
And you know how it is, man. College football familiarity speaks volumes, and we're gonna, especially as a new head coach coming in, trying to get his feet at the University of Miami and get some respect there. Familiarity is going to be a big thing for him because it's trust. It's something that he knows he can go to and something that he knows has proven to be successful already.
Angel Muniz, $50 donation. Thank you so much, man. Greatly appreciate it. Hit the subscribe and like button, fellas. These guys do great work. Merry Christmas Eve to the both of you guys. Now, who do you guys think we will get for DC versus who would you want? I would like the both of your inputs. Angel, thank you so much for your donation and the kind words. Merry Christmas Eve to you and your loved ones and everyone listening. I think the favorite is Schumann. I think that would be a good hire. Derek Mason is also in consideration by Mario Cristobal. If we had the money, I think Derek Mason did a phenomenal job at Auburn. He shut down Alabama's offense in the SEC. If you can shut down Alabama's offense, which is something Miami failed to do, going up against them week 1, I think that's you're moving in the right direction. Derek Mason has the appropriate resume. He's been a head coach. He's been a defensive coordinator in the SEC. I think he would be a great hire.
I'm greedy with this one, man, especially with Cristobal being our head coach. Right. I want us to just be going for the fences, man, swinging for the fences, and keeping the elite recruiters at the University of Miami and bringing in more and more. Schumann is the guy for me at DC. He is. Why not get the guy we want and just bring him in instead of just, I understand what he's saying, who will we get compared to who do we want? But hey, like I said, let's be greedy on this one, Angel. Let's get the guy that we want and let's bring him in and let's make it happen.
All right. No, I agree. We have the funds. We have the money to assemble a good coaching staff. I think Derek Mason's salary is around 1.4, 1.5. Schumann's at $600K, I believe. That's a lot more affordable. I think they're going to go after Schumann first and what he assisted with that Georgia defense. I think it'll be a good hire. I really do.
Like I mentioned, at minimum, it gives us an elite level recruiter at defensive coordinator. While he might take a year or two to really find his way and find his defense in the ACC, at least we know we could be adding major talent in the meantime while he's developing them.
He did, yeah, 100%. So look, I think regardless, we're going to have a better defensive coordinator. Coming from the SEC would even be better, Ross.
I lost you there. What was that? Sorry.
That just getting a coordinator from the SEC is just going to be huge from a good SEC program as well. I think that's going to be phenomenal.
From an SEC program too, Paul, that he was a part of a turnaround at, winning at Arkansas hasn't been easy lately. Getting things to move fluidly at Arkansas on offense hasn't been easy. So props to him and Pittman for what they've done, dude. Seriously. You got
an OC from Arkansas. You got a defensive coordinator from Georgia or Auburn. That's huge, man. If you want to compete with the best, you got to get from the best. And SEC recruiting is a different animal. And we're going to have a very good staff at Miami, guys. I guarantee you the expectation is Travaris Robinson should be retained. So that'll be good for defensive backs coach. And Coach Fields as well. He'll be retained. That's the expectation. So those are two huge, coaches that you want on your staff, and then you can filter out the rest.
I truly believe that Cristobal is going to try to mimic the SEC while he's in the ACC. I think he wants to build us up and have us into not just an ACC contender, but into a college football playoff contender. And to do that and to actually fulfill some of those dreams, if you get there, you got to have the team to make it happen, dude. You got to have the depth, the talent, and the coaching to make it happen. I think for for Cristobal himself to go into Ohio State and get that win, I think really gave him a blueprint on what it takes to win, to beat some of these big teams, and especially on the road, which we all know Manny Diaz never is going to win that game right there. So that gives me hope and intrigue and an intriguing I feel feeling about this upcoming season for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there was like a stat like Mario Cristobal was what, like 5-1 against top 10 teams, something around there.
Yep.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it any day of the week.
Yep. He likes to show up when the lights are bright.
There you go. So, we want to talk about there was a big defensive lineman, Jason Jones. He was in the transfer portal. Ross, maybe you can get more clarity on the situation. He commits to Auburn. Was he considering Miami? I know a lot of fans wanted him to come here. So kind of just give the brief background.
I think he was considering Miami. Yes, I do. I really do. I can understand though, man. We've talked about this before, like the Marcus Banks scenario. The draw and the appeal to be in the SEC and to play in the SEC is a big deal. It really is. Guys who understand that, they can take that and they can build on it as they go forward. They can turn around and say, "Hey, I played against the best of the best of the best." So I understand that route for some of these guys wanting to stay in the SEC as compared to moving to a place like the ACC. I get it.
How good of a player do you think Jason Jones would have been?
I think he's a solid player, no matter what. A guy that big and that athletic, he'll always at least be able to be a people eater or a space eater at minimum. But I think he can be a little bit more than that. I definitely do.
So right now, we have Jacob Lichtstein. We went after Marcus Banks. We didn't grab him. He went to Mississippi State. Jason Jones, Auburn. You think Frank Latson can end up at Miami?
I do. I mean, and especially we start missing on these other positions. When you start missing on other positions, you start to kind of glorify or start to put the other positions that you really need on a pedestal, and you make sure that you do everything you can to not miss at those positions as well. So if Latson's a guy that we're on the fence about, but we miss a couple guys, we could elevate him to a top choice immediately, or he already could be a top choice. We'll see as time goes on.
Do you think we'll be adding more to the defensive line, linebacker unit, or wide receiver unit as the portal gets bigger and bigger every day or time goes on?
We have to add linebacking talent, guys who can play right away and step in week one and play. We have to. Our linebacking unit was atrocious. It's not going to be an overnight fix for that. Manny Diaz instilled some of the worst absolute habits you can have in those players. It's going to take a year or two to get those guys right and to break those bad habits.
I agree.
And on top of that, too, not just linebacker, but getting another, I got to even take 2 pass rushers. If they're capable and we trust them, I want some guys who can get to the quarterback. Guys who we know can get to the quarterback. That's what's beautiful about the portal.
I agree. No, I agree. Linebacker play has to improve. Now, I'm curious, bring in a guy like Schumann and Derek Mason. How's it going to change a little bit? I'll be curious at that. What do you do with the players you have, the personnel? Can you make something out of really not much? Where's the difference in development? So I'll be curious about that.
I think what they do is they start to at least align the players and align the system how they want to going into the future. While it might not be the prettiest right now because they don't have the exact players they want to do for it, that's where younger guys and guys who don't get as much experience get some chances as the season goes on if the guys ahead of them aren't performing well. So I think that they want to make sure no matter what that they align the defense for the next 2 years, not just for the next coming season.
Now, previously, guys, the running backs position, I know a lot of people were hinting maybe Coach Hickson will be retained, throwing other names out there. Oregon's Jim Mastro, their run game coordinator, running backs coach, according to David Lake, 24/7 Sports, he is pending potentially a job offer at Nevada to be the offensive coordinator there if he does not come to Miami. So just look out for that.
I hadn't got that news yet today. I've been pretty busy so far.
Yeah.
Wow, that could change things for us there pretty quick, actually. That could do, too, is that could open the door for a guy like Hickson to stay at Miami if Cristobal is comfortable with that.
I think, like I've said this several times, it won't matter who's our running backs coach. I'm not really the most concerned about that position unit. Keep Coach Hickson, whoever. We're going to be fine. We're always going to develop NFL talent. It should never be an issue. Every single coach that's come here, every single running backs coach, always had NFL talent at the running back position unit. So I'm not worried about that.
Well, even if we do decide to go look for a different route, what running back coach in America wouldn't be excited as hell getting a chance to use our running backs straight up?
Yeah. Um, which it'll be nice with the way Kendall Browse, game plans his run attack. I think that'll be huge because he draws up a lot of nice plays for them, and I mean, I guess everyone has their perspective, but we need to average. We need to do a lot better averaging yards per carry a game. We need to. I mean, I felt like we were just distributing the ball to three different running backs a game. I don't like that. 1 to 2 max. Have your short yard situational running back, and then my opinion, Don Chaney will work better in short yard situations, goal line stands, in the red zone. I feel like Knighton is better out in open space. Just my opinion.
We've got a really nice RB room, and we've got an RB room that has versatility. So any smart coach coming in will be able to realize doesn't have to lean on one, doesn't have to just lean on the power run or get into the outside and speed. You've got guys who can do a little bit of everything, and then you've got guys like Rooster who can be the big play guys when you need them to be.
There was a report, I forgot who the media outlet was in regards to Rob Likens, guys. Some people wanted him as offensive coordinator. It seems like he will not be retained under Mario Cristobal's staff. Footballville Nation did break the news. Bryce McClendon will be the next wide receivers coach at the University of Miami. Rob Likens has been, I think, tapped to be the next wide receivers coach at SMU. So if you're going to be the wide receivers coach at SMU, I don't think, if you're not even tapped for a P5 offensive coordinator job, I don't think you're suited to be the OC.
McClendon has more proof and better chops in recruiting year after year than Likens does. It's a fact, honestly. It's just a fact. I think McClendon gets us set up better for the future. Nothing but respect to Likens. I love how he enabled our young wide receivers to finally get out there and get productive and get some playing time. But we can do better, and I think we're gonna do better.
100% agree. And no one gives credit to Margin Hooks, Charleston Ramble's trainer. Nobody ever gives him credit.
Hey, man, I talk about him a lot, bro. I tweet about him all the time. Me and him talking the DMs all the time. His group of wide receivers he has right now, Paul, it's unbelievable, dude. Like, it's absolutely unbelievable what this guy's working with right now. If you are a top-level wide receiver in the state of Texas, you'll be working with Margin Hicks at some point in time through your development. And what me and him spoke about, which will be really, really cool for him going forward, Paul, is he's going to get to work with Rambo while he goes to the NFL. This is his first NFL guy. So he's going to get to experience that as well, which is only going to make it easier for him to draw on big names. Say, hey, look, I'm working with an NFL guy. And high school kids are going to go, wow, So Margin Hooks, that's the dude right there.
So we'll do a quick overview of where we stand right now in the staff potentially. OC, the favorites, Kendall Briles. Offensive line will be Mirabal. Wide receivers, McClendon. Tight ends, Coach Fields. I think that, and then running backs potentially Coach Matt out of Oregon. So that'll be the offensive side. Defensive line, Joe Alave. Linebackers, probably Schumann mixed in as his defensive coordinator role. Your DBs will go to Travaris Robinson.
I like Schumann. I like Schumann being able to work with our linebackers. That's what I like about him as DC. Have a guy who's established at the highest levels of our defense who wants to turn around our linebacking unit. Because here's the thing is we can do whatever we want to our defensive line and our secondary. If that linebacking core doesn't improve, our defense isn't going to improve very much. Sadly, we got to get all levels clicking at the right speed.
Bingo. Rod Chance, yes. Ross, are you familiar with Rod Chance at all? I believe, was it Oregon's cornerbacks coach, DB's coach, secondary?
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of, would you be? I mean, it's always a plus, right? Bringing him on to the secondary, splitting it with Travaris Robinson, those two overseeing those roles. Trying to pull up the notes real quick. Do you think Travaris Robinson will oversee both groups, or will have Rod Chance assisting him?
I could see T-Rob overseeing both groups with Chance focusing on the cornerback stuff. It doesn't hurt to have two supreme teachers out there giving their advice and giving their knowledge and passing it on to our guys. I trust both of those guys, honestly, and I know both of them can recruit, so I wouldn't be upset at all if we decided to go that route.
You think we retained a Marcus Van Dyke?
I do, for the simple fact of We've spent this time developing him to try to turn him into a coach we want to turn into, and we know he's useful on the recruiting trail. Mario Cristobal will surround himself with as many good recruiters as he possibly can, top to bottom.
Showboy Kane wants you to check that cough out, Ross.
I was outside all this morning, dude. It's 8 degrees up here today, guys. Sorry.
That's fair. 8 degrees. That's a
outside,
lot.
8 degrees.
That's cold.
All the neighbors have got all their wood smoke going, dude. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. I apologize.
So there were. Want to switch over? We kind of threw out the ideal staff right now, where things stand. Who's the favorites? Who's kind of on the outside looking in? Who's pending? Nesta Silvera put out a tweet hinting potentially coming back next season. Would you be interested in that? I think we need all the help of the D-line.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that just for the simple fact that he's a body. You know, he's a guy who's got some experience. I'd like to see what a new staff could do with him, Paul. I'd like to see if there's any tricks or trades that they could implement into his game to take his game to the next level. Getting superior coaches and getting new superior type of coaches in usually only is a good thing for players, and it usually helps them get more of a variety to their game anyways. So, dude, yeah, I'm all for it. I would be happy to have Nesta back.
No, 100%. I think we need all the help we can get at D-tackle, D-line in general as well. So having Nesta back, I think his final year of college football, now this is just us talking, having a conversation, would be great. You know, I think he played his best football this past season, probably the best conditioning-wise, health-wise, so you know.
Build on it, right? Build on it. You know, if we build on it and he takes his game to the next step and we start to see that nasty Nesta that we've been really wanting to see, dude, it only makes our football team better as a whole.
100%. All right. Want to talk? We got 7 minutes left. Want to talk about the game real quick. Do you think with everything that's been going on, it's gonna be a short show today, guys. My apologies. It's Christmas Eve, so I'm not gonna talk Canes football the whole day. Do you think with everything going on, Miami is going to give it 100%? We saw Florida lose to UCF. It would be nice to win a bowl game. We don't win a lot of bowl games. History shows. Past, I think, was it Russell Athletic Bowl and then the one against Nevada in the Bluegrass Field. So that's been 2 out of a while. Do you think we'll finally win one?
I sure hope so. Let's go into the future on the right foot, guys. Let's not do the what ifs or, oh, man, we could have done this against these guys, but it's not why we lost, or we didn't do this, and that's why we lost. Let's go all out, and let's get a bowl game win, and let's prove that things are going to change at the University of Miami going forward, because I'm all about proof and actions. Words don't impress me much. Show me on the field.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see. I know there's, I guess with the whole, situation of players contracting COVID, Miami was in a tough spot. Some players right now have tested positive. So we'll see. The couple of Texas A&M had to drop off of the Gator Bowl. Hawaii had to drop out as well from their bowl game. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
I'd hate to see these seniors that we got in last year, guys that we got, miss out on this game, because you go out there and you shine at a bowl game. You shine in front of the national spotlight, even if it's not a huge game, it still puts you on a pedestal a little bit. It gives you that extra film that other teams don't have. So I hope they figure out a way to make it happen. And on top of that, we match up really, really well against that Washington State secondary, and we can abuse that defense. So I'd love to see it.
We're losing Charleston Rambo. He's not going to be playing. DeAndre Johnson declared for the NFL as well. I thought that was interesting. I'll leave it at that. Any key players offensively, for next year, like a Restrepo, Keyshawn Smith, you're going to be looking at Ross specifically?
I'm going to actually be looking at the advancement of Mallory with, going forward after what we saw last year with the young guys maturing and becoming better players. I want to see that elevate with a guy like Mallory, who's already been around for a while and already flashed some potential. I really want to see his career come full circle. If he can be the guy that we all hoped he could be, and then you've got the guys like Skinner and Arroyo behind him as ultimate pass catchers, it could be one hell of a tight end group going forward, bro.
I'm curious if Mario Cristobal has any say in this game, in the sense of like, hey, like, can you play the underclassmen more? Like to see this guy get some more snaps, for next season, because he's going to be watching the game, obviously.
Oh yeah, Cristobal seems to be a guy who is more than willing to play the guys who deserve to be on the field at the right time. Age doesn't seem to be the biggest factor in deciding that, or experience necessarily all the time. Experience is great, and all coaches love it, but Cristobal understands what it means to have the best players on the field at the right time.
So Cristobal is definitely going to be watching the game. We know Maribel has been speaking with some of the offensive linemen already. We got to win. It'll be nice to close out the season with a win, see Tyler Van Dyke continuously progress, and use this momentum going forward.
Says see TBD do it after we just lost our coaching staff too, Paul. To see it that he can do it with multiple coaches in multiple different ways shows the caliber of quarterback that he really is. A guy like Jake Garcia, we spoke about his background, going and playing for 4 different offenses in high school. Well, anytime the quarterback can prove he can play for a different offense and excel in a different offense, it only makes their NFL dreams a little bit more realistic.
100%. All right. Any questions in the chat? Shoot them over. We got 3 minutes left. Ross, anything you wanted to add on this outstanding Christmas Eve?
I guess mostly to me it was just making sure that we addressed the Kendall Briles stuff, because that seemed to really take a change lately. We had a show recently where we were kind of starting to think, hey, we're not hearing much buzz, so it might be a different guy. But right. The news I got today and the news you got today, it's changed my opinion on that completely, and it does sound like Kendall Briles is the number 1 choice at OC for the University of Miami.
All right. He was throwing down the UF Florida State. Goes to Arkansas. I think he did a good job there. He did an outstanding job at Baylor. That's what really kind of got his what's the word for it? Stock going up, and he did a good job with Lane Kiffin at FAU. So if he is the guy, I'm gonna be interested. It's gonna be very interesting to see how it pans out. We will be running the football a lot at this game. So
Arkansas was in the dumps, guys. He's part of this resurgence that they had. Winning at Arkansas is not an easy thing to do, especially when you consider their recent history. They weren't a loaded team with talent. So Pittman coming in as a head coach and Briles turning that offense around, hey, man, I give those guys a lot of props for that. It's not easy to do that in the SEC.
All right. Derek Lumsden has asked score predictions. Go for it, Ross.
Score predictions. Miami wins 38-27.
Yeah, I'm in the 30s too with Miami winning. I think we're going to win this game. I'm going to say 35-31. 35-31.
Little tighter game, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I'm really not familiar with Washington State at all. I don't even know who's their coach. Is it still Mike Leach? No, he's at Mississippi State. He's at Miss. Didn't they fire their head coach this season because of the vaccine mandate? Wasn't he fired because of that?
Wazoo, yeah, Rolovich, yeah, he screwed that up.
All right, so he was fired. So they have an interim coach. Kane Freak 2001 3X $50 donation. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, guys. Alrighty, have a Thank you very much for your donation. Greatly appreciate it. Brandon Merriweather will be doing a weekly show this past week. Alrighty, let's Briles will be an upgrade over Rhett Lashley. Ross, quick question. And we'll wrap up the show with this one. Do you think Briles and Rhett Lashley have similar play call?
In some ways, yeah. The idea of keeping things open, utilizing the run game to help get the pass game open more. Even if you got to go to the point of as far as using play action, where it gets a little stubborn at sometimes, you can, do it to look into the future to see where you can get opportunities to haul that ball back in and make a pass on it instead. I'm more than happy to give these guys a shot, Paul. I'm more than happy to give these guys a shot in the ACC because they've proven they can do it elsewhere. I want guys who have proven they can do it outside of the ACC. So when it's time to go battle against these Power 5 schools that we got to go against in bowl games or early season games, we're equipped for it and we're ready to go.
Gotcha. Last thing I'm going to say, I don't think we will be taking Terrence Lewis. Just my take. He may be in our back pocket. I don't think he's a take right now if we do grab him.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I can see us doing the due diligence and exercising our background, and when we look into him and see what kind of player he might be going forward, if he's learned from his lessons. But this is a situation where he's He's obviously an elite player with some very special skill sets at a position that we need. But if the staff is not comfortable with him that happened off the field, he's not going to be brought on the team. It's that simple.
All right, guys. Thank you again for jumping on the show. We did a quick one. It's Christmas Eve. Spend time with your family, your loved ones, and hopefully we can, get our staff in and beat Washington State coming up. Thank you again, guys, for joining the show. And always, all about the U. Go Canes.
Okay.